God be with you till we meet again, till we meet again, till we meet again. Conference till we meet again, till we meet again, till we meet. God be with you till we meet again.
That was the grand way in which the formal part of the 14th Annual Task Conference was brought to a close on Friday, the 11th of May 2012. We'll say formal part because later that evening, a gala night was held at which participants were able to boogie down and at which Miss Tax for the year 2012 was crowned. What we're going to be doing on today's episode of Tax Matters is to tell you a little of the story of the 14th Annual Task Conference organized by the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. My name is Olumuyiwa Matuluko, and with me on today's episode is Christina Pius.
Hello viewers.
How long will it take you to get out these goods?
I'm on it, sir. They said I should bring our team.
Our team? What team?
Custom has changed. And the FIRS said...
What has FIRS got to do with clearing my goods? I'll talk to Garba myself. You are fired.
Sir?
Garba, which one be our team again?
The taxpayer identification number is the new and only approved means of transaction with the Nigeria Customs Service. You can process your free tin in minutes at any FIRS office.
Soji,
just fired me now, sir.
Get our team.
This message is from Federal Inland Revenue Service and the Nigeria Customs Service.
The 14th Annual Task Conference kicked off in the evening of Wednesday, the 9th of May, with the Hospitality Night and Members Forum, the night at which former President Adebimpe Balogun was the special guest of honor, was used to honor the serving stakeholders, just as the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of training delivered a paper on the police, security, and you. Thursday morning, 10th of May 2012, the 14th Annual Task Conference was formally declared open by a representative of President Goodluck Jonathan in the person of Mrs. Chidi Ibechukwu. Mrs. Gloria Olotu, Chairman, 14th Annual Task Conference Planning Committee, welcomed delegates in this way.
When the conference committee deliberated on what theme to adopt for this year's conference, the desire was how best to key into and further the cause and aspirations of the present administration in delivering on the dividends of democracy and achieving the much-needed El Dorado that we all seek for in our dear nation. The government is grappling with such daunting and sometimes discouraging circumstances that it seems there is no hope. This conference is a chance to bring some ray of hope in the fact that taxation presents a strong and viable path towards economic and indeed social transformation. And so more attention should be given to cultivating, developing, and protecting a strong tax culture as part of the transformation agenda.
Goodwill messages were delivered by the Royal Father of the Day, Oba Adebanji Alabi Afuntade of Ilawe Ekiti, the acting executive chairman of the Federal Revenue Service and the chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Finance.
This conference represents another opportunity for us to further our cooperation and partnership towards developing the Nigerian tax system and the Nigerian economy. In this respect, the theme of this conference captures part of the vision of the service, which is to make taxation the pivot of national development. Of course, to achieve this vision, we must start by understanding the role which taxation can play in bringing about economic transformation, which is a major plank of the administration of His Excellency President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. As we know, at the core of Mr. President's transformation agenda the need to create sustainable wealth in the hands of Nigerians and address the issue of job creation. Accordingly, any conference which seeks to discuss the role of taxation in economic transformation has the full support of not only the service but also the federal government.
The biggest investment in our economy, directly or indirectly, is the capital budget of the federal government. This year, when you look at the Appropriation Act, you will see that we have a deficit, a huge deficit of about 1.3 trillion. Where are we going to get that money from? And so we need to diversify our economy. And in diversifying our economy, tax, it's a very, very important tool. People will not pay this tax until they are sure that it is going to be utilized for their own good.
In his opening address, President of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, Mr. John Femi Sunday Jegede, spoke about the choice of theme for the conference.
It is a fact that any serious-minded government desirous of attracting meaningful development to its economy must accord taxation its rightful place. It is only when this is done that a robust and sustainable development can be achieved.
The CITN president also used the opportunity to canvass for support for the CITN Secretariat building project.
It is indeed delightful to inform you that our collective aspiration to build a befitting permanent secretariat edifice for our noble institute is beginning to be realized, as the contractors are being mobilized to site now, and construction work will start any moment from now. May I also implore our members who are yet to pay the 20,000 building construction levy, as agreed at the last annual general meeting, to do so without further delay. In the same vein, I urge members of the public, corporate bodies and stakeholders to contribute towards this noble cause, which is expected to be a significant milestone in the Institute's developmental strides. In addition, Your Excellency, I just want, with due respect, I want to remind you, that we are still expecting the donation from the federal government of Nigeria towards this laudable program.
President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, the special guest of honor at the opening ceremony, was represented by Mrs. Chidi Ibechukwu, who delivered the keynote address on his behalf.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, one of the cardinal objectives of this administration is our resolve to diversify the nation's sources of revenue by strengthening the country's tax system in order to reduce, if not eradicate, overdependence on oil revenue. I am particularly delighted to state that CITN's genuine wish and efforts towards the attainment of this lofty vision, particularly in recent times, is worth commending. On this note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor and pleasure to declare the 14th Annual Tax Conference of the CITN open.
3 major papers were presented at the 14th Annual Tax Conference around the theme, Taxation as a Tool for Economic Transformation.
It is tried knowledge that taxation by governments generates the needed revenue, which when properly applied to develop the infrastructural base of their economies will occasion multiplier effects of more businesses being established, more jobs being created, more incomes being generated and earned, leading to more tax revenues being generated, so that the cycle of economic transformation continues. Taxation thus becomes the oil that prevents the wheels of economic transformation from being squeaky.
Here, in our country, and perhaps in most African countries, the willpower is lacking to push for decrease in tax rates. You want to hold on to what you see, and it is because there are a whole lot of areas that require cleaning up, but nobody's addressing.
We don't know who our taxpayers are. I remember when the Personal Income Tax Act was released. The fear from most states' revenue board is that their revenue flow will decline. But we're laughing. You're cleaning up your system. You're expanding the tax base. You're identifying more taxpayers and bringing them into the tax. Why should you be afraid? The wider the tax population, the more revenue you're going to get. But those, check it out, both at the federal and at the state level, you're just holding on to the small number. And these are the same people you visit every year because you want more revenue. You cannot build revenue base that way.
On Friday, the 11th of May, the conference participants met together at plenary, at which syndicate group reports were presented and the conference papers were discussed at length. Of course, like we said at the beginning, the 14th Annual Tax Conference was rounded off with a gala night at which the Miss Tax for 2012 was crowned.
How do you feel?
Well, I feel overwhelmed. I wasn't expecting it.
So what are your plans for your tenure?
I'll start with women empowerment. Because women and teaching women about taxation, because a lot of people feel taxation is a masculine job, and I'll tell people that even with taxation, as a female, you can actually do a lot and make people understand that taxation, everybody has to pay tax, and if you have to pay tax, it's a very good benefit to the society, and also use the empowerment to also teach them about taxation, why they should pay tax and its benefits as well.
Hearty congratulations to Miss Tax 2012. As we promised you earlier, more stories will come to you from the 14th Annual Tax Conference very soon. We want to move on to other stories, the first being the story of the oversight function visit of the House of Representatives Committee on Finance on the Federal Inland Revenue Service. The Federal Inland Revenue Service receiving party was ably led by the acting executive chairman, Alhaji Kabiru Mashi.
Let me use this opportunity to welcome you for finding time to come and visit us and see how we are faring. And the next slide is our performance from 2007 to the first quarter of March 2012. In 2007, our target was 1.7 trillion. We collected 1.8 trillion. In 2008, we were to collect 2.2 trillion. We collected 2.9 trillion. In 2009, we were to collect 1.9 trillion. We collected 2.1 trillion. In 2010, we were to collect 2.5 trillion. We collected 2.8 trillion. In 2011, we were to collect 3.5 trillion. We collected 4.6 trillion. In 2012, the first quarter, we were expected to collect 908 billion. We collected 1.17 trillion.
We are here this morning, or I say afternoon, in line with our constitutional role of oversight. I'm a bit surprised that we're the first Committee of Finance that assisted the Federal Revenue Services, and I take pride in that, and I wish to congratulate myself and the committee for that milestone. And writing oversight is very important, and we keep emphasizing that oversight is not auditing and it's not investigation. It's an opportunity for us, members of different arms of government, to meet, know ourselves better, see what we are doing, identify areas of challenges, also take note of where strides are being made, and look at areas and ways that we can all work together in the interest of our great country.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service introduces the tax card to make all tax payment easy for you. Just follow these 7 easy steps. Obtain your taxpayer identification number, TIN, for free at any FIRS office. Get your tax card from your bank. Log on to www.firsonline.com. Then register to obtain a password and access the payment process pages. Fill your TIN number, tax type you're paying, amount payable, and period of payment. Confirm the entries on your transaction. Then print your e-ticket and present at any FIRS office as an evidence of tax paid. It's that simple. For more information, visit www.firs.gov.ng or any FIRS office close to you. FIRS, it pays to pay your tax.
Welcome back. We are on the home stretch of today's episode of Tax Matters as we serve you this update on the activities of the Senate Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs and Federal Character, which has just submitted its report on the public hearing held on the proposal by the Federal Road Safety Commission and the State Boards of Internal Revenue to introduce new prices for national driver's license and new vehicle number plates. Christina Pius has the details.
You will recall that between Tuesday 27th and Wednesday 28th March 2012, the committee held a public hearing on the matter, just as the Federal House of Representatives Committee on the FRSC held its own public hearing from Monday 26th to Tuesday 27th March. Tax Matters was at the public hearing way back in March. We now serve you highlights of what transpired within the 2 days.
In the new scheme, motor vehicle driver's license goes for 6,000 naira from its previous 3,000 naira. Motorcycle license goes for 3,000 naira from its previous 750 naira. Standard motor vehicle plate number has suddenly jumped to 15,000 naira from its previous 6,000 naira. Fancy plate numbers have now moved to 80,000 naira from the previous 18,000 naira.
The only short one that I want to ask, FRSC, are you the only people that produce number plates in Nigeria, or there are either state governments or other arms of government that have established similar factories? I learned some times ago that Lagos state government does produce their own number plates.
The answer to your question is yes. Lagos state does produce number plates for Lagos state. They have their own plans. They started it in 2004, and after rigorous arguments with us, we integrated them into the national system. And the argument being that the law set up by the National Assembly has covered the field. We have the sole rights to produce number plates and driver's license for the country. But in exercise of that power, we also said that the states who want to set up their own plans and who wants to produce in conformity with our design and standards, with the approved guidelines from us, we will allow them to produce. So we're looking forward to democratizing that in the spirit of democracy in the country.
Just one more clarification. Replacements, which account for over 90% of what we're handling now, are 10,000 naira.
Where? Here?
Everywhere across the nation.
JTB approved
it's 10,000 naira for replacements. It's not 15,000 is for brand new registrations.
We are setting up a database for the registration. In other words, when vehicles are registered, it goes to the Central Motor Registry, where we keep records, and now we are using technology to keep these records. This is what we intend to hand over to all the patrolsmen.
What we have is every vehicle now, after you have whether done your registration of your plate number, the police is not producing plate number. It's the responsibility of the MLAs to do that. We have the CMR, where after you have registered your vehicle up to today, you take your vehicle to the CMR and we register your vehicle. But over the years, it has been manually done. And police, for some time, have been making effort to add value to this. In 1997, we introduced what we call ECMR, Enhanced Central Motor Registry. But it did not meet up with the yearning and expectation of the Nigerian Police Force. In 2009, we developed police vehicle registration portal. And in last year, we upgraded the CMR to biometric central motor registry. So we're not taking any job off those who are responsible for registration of vehicles, those who are responsible for production of plate numbers. What we're saying is that after you've done that, we want to keep the records we have been keeping manually now in an electronic form. And after we have kept that record in an electronic form, we give you a card that contains every details of your vehicle. The policeman on the highway with this handheld can read the details by just presenting the card to the system. The information is read straight, and you will be able to confirm the detail of the owner, the vehicle registration information, whether the vehicle license, insurance, or any other thing is due. The policeman will be able to confirm that. And if the vehicle has been reported stolen, immediately the driver approached the police. We have two ways of doing that, either using the handle or a mobile phone. You can send with a code, text the plate number or the chassis number of that vehicle with the mobile phone into the system. The system gives you a report to confirm whether that vehicle has been reported stolen, to confirm the status of the owner of the vehicle.
Question number 1. Do you have any synergy with the Federal Road Safety Corps as regards the security issues reference the production of the new plates? Then number 2, what is going to be the cost implication to the Nigerian public, knowing fully well that why we are here is to bring down the cost of registration of vehicles?
Before you answer the questions, yesterday, unfortunately, you were not here. The Joint Tax Board chairman was there, and one of the issues we raised when the VIO yesterday said they have this chip and there is this technology you put at the back of the vehicle and stuff. We said there seem to be, like we normally have in Nigeria, so many laws, so many regulations, so many agencies doing almost the same thing at no synergy. We are not synchronizing whatever it is we are doing.
We will be ready to synergize with any other organization and, of course, provide the information. Of course, all it takes is people keying in to our database and they'll have the same records. Yes,
the second one is the cost implication.
Yes, it will be 3,500 naira. 3,500 naira for plain glass vehicles and 5,000 naira for the tinted ones.
Now the Senate committee has submitted its own report. It did so on Thursday, 10th of May 2012. The Senator Dahiru Kuta-led committee has recommended that the standard motor vehicle plates should be sold to the end user at 8,400, while the national driver's license should go for 4,000 naira. The committee further recommended that the renewal of the driver's license should be at the point of renewal when the individual's current license expires, rather than a general cutover date, while the deadline for the replacement of old vehicle number plates should be February 2013 as against the old dates of August 2012 fixed by the FRSC. The committee further recommended that all other schemes in the pipeline, which were also presented at the public hearing, be stepped down to lessen the burden on motorists. These include the e-coding scheme of the FCTVIO, which was meant to cost 2,000 naira, as well as the ECMR of the police, which was to cost motorists 3,500. The committee has recommended that all schemes be integrated with that of the FRSC. The committee's report is to be discussed by the Senate at plenary. It is expected that the two houses of the National Assembly will harmonize their reports on the matter.
Democracy at work. You may say democracy is expensive, but it is good. It is sweet. It is indeed government for the people. And this program, Tax Matters, is program for the people. So, what do you say? Let's meet again on this station, same day of the week, same time of the day, next week, for a fresh episode of Tax Matters. From Christina.
Thanks for watching.
And from me, bye for now. Keep your noses dry. Don't do what I won't do.